It's lunch for Lombardi. It's lunch with Lombardi. And this is a quintessential Faded Glory set for lunch with Lombardi. This is one of California's greatest lakes, Huntington Lake. I'm at 7,000 feet above sea level in the high Sierra. And to add to the intrigue, the lake is essentially drained behind me. They're doing dam repairs. So because of that, we get this unique look at the docks for the boats, a little pier behind me, without any water. The water obviously is a little bit further behind it. So I'm gonna walk out on there and just kind of show you where I'm at. This is called the Huntington Lake Resort. It's a good little restaurant. You could have lunch when there's actually water in the lake during the summer. But just a couple weeks ago, they drained it. And we are now in the position of a lake that I could swim in, but I'd have to walk a really long way to swim in it. So why don't we take a walk down toward the water, where the water normally is, as we talk about the 49ers. By the way, if you've got any questions, I know the 49ers just signed Marlon Mack to their practice squad. I know they just moved to Sean Gibson to the 53-man roster. All of that we can talk about. But this is where the water normally is. This is where the boats normally are. It's really trippy to see this lake empty. Again, Huntington Lake, 7,000 feet. You still see boats. You still see some jet skis just kind of sitting around. And, oh, look, out in the distance, got some kayakers. So they're there. And that island, sometimes I'll swim to that island, and I can still swim there, but it's just a lot easier swim. I mean, normally I'll go in right here through the boat ramp, and I'll swim across this way. I understand that we may not have the highest video quality right now, but that's okay. I am at 7,000 feet in the mountains walking down a pier in a lake that looks abandoned right now. But Huntington is beautiful, and we're going to walk to the very end of the pier just so you guys can take a look. That's it. So, I mean, this lake, it's never going to be empty enough to see it, but this is the one that I did a show from maybe, well, it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was right before the Minnesota game in the preseason. And I mentioned that during World War II, there was a military plane that actually crashed into this lake because they thought that, I mean, that they were in bad weather, and they thought that you could see the forest around me everywhere. The lake was frozen over, so they thought that to make an emergency landing, they could do it on the snow. They thought that it was an open meadow, but it wasn't an open wet meadow. It was actually just a frozen over lake. So the plane crashed and it sunk. And I think a couple of the crew survived. Most of them died. They got the bodies out, but they didn't get the plane out. So the plane is still in the bottom of this lake, like all these years later. Because the lake itself, I talk about the dam repairs that need to be done. I'm on the dock right now as it's drained. The lake itself is artificial. It's man-made. It's part of a hydroelectric project. So it used to be a forest, right? That forest that you see behind me used to cover the entire lake floor. So when they dammed up the lake, they cut the trees, but some of the trees are still there at the bottom that they didn't cut. And when that plane crashed during World War II, that was training, it was based down in Fresno. When that plane crashed, he got stuck in the trees in the bottom of the lake, so they just didn't take it out. I think they got the engine or something, but there's still a plane from 1945, years and years, decades and decades ago, there at the bottom of Huntington Lake. All right, so maybe I could walk down toward the water, give you guys a nice view of that. I'm gonna get off the dock here. I'm gonna walk toward the boat ramp that I normally swim off of. So how about some 49ers questions? I just released 2 videos, so I'm not in a rush to talk about them. I could show you guys the faded glory here of Huntington Lake Resort in the middle of September. Yeah, we're gonna take my swimming route and we're gonna walk it instead. This is the boat ramp. If a question pops up at the bottom of the screen, I'm happy to answer it. If not, then I'll show you guys the slow, no wake sign. This is the buoy. So right now I'm standing where the water normally is, and this buoy just kind of floats up. There's a hard seltzer in there. Can. You guys want to see? This is the can of hard seltzer. Somebody just... It's pretty funny. So now we're at water level right here as we walk toward the lake. I mean, it's still spectacular. It just feels like Mars. Did Wilson look a little slow to you on Sunday? Hard to think he's running back one. Yeah, he's not as fast as Elijah Mitchell. That's for sure. I mean, the 49ers, if they don't have Elijah Mitchell, I think they have some problems. Elijah Mitchell's a good running back. It's not going to be that easy to just replace him. So, yeah, Wilson didn't look as fast as Mitchell. He only averaged, 2.7 yards per carry. Mitchell was there, I think, over 6. I mean, they're obviously going to be in different situations, so it's hard to compare apples and oranges, but I did think that Mitchell showed a lot more burst than Jeff Wilson. With Russ gone, is the rivalry the same, or is it just another division game? Oh, the rivalry's the same. I mean, people hated Richard Sherman more than Russell Wilson, and then Richard Sherman ended up being a 49er, and the rivalry still stayed, even though Richard Sherman changed teams. So the rivalry is not gone. Thoughts on possibly another game in the rain? I mean, it's not going to be the same kind of rain that you saw last week. That was a monsoon. I think there's a 40% chance, and 40% means it's still less likely to rain than to rain. All right. What do we know about Mac? Asks Mad Max. Well, I'll answer that question in just a second. I'm just getting to the shore here, though. Made the nice walk down. As you guys can see, there's the boat dock that we started on. And, I mean, we're so far down here. I mean, this is normally like the bottom of the lake. This is way down here. So you find stuff that we haven't seen for decades. A rusted chain. And then the shore of the water. Should I get in? Let's see. We're at 7,000 feet, so it's not going to be... I could swim that, though. It's not freezing. It's not warm either. I swam it a couple weeks ago. Beautiful as ever from here. A lot of clouds. I don't think we'll get a thunderstorm. It feels like the first day of fall up here. I have to go back to the Bay Area tomorrow for practice. All right, so Marlon Mack. The 49ers are getting a former 1,000-yard rusher who tore his Achilles after that 1,000-yard season. So we'll see how much burst Marlon Mack has left. But the 49ers obviously liked what they saw from Marlon Mack in week 3 when he was running against them with the Texans. Now, Mack is 26 years old. He had a 4.5 40 coming out of South Florida in 2017. He was teammates with Frank Gore on the Colts in 2017. His breakout game was actually against the 49ers that year. Year 1, Kyle Shanahan. George Kittle scored his first career touchdown, overtime loss at Indy. I could just kind of go down the list of the accomplishments. It was impressive over 2017, 2018, and 2019 for Marlon Mack. But then he hit the wall with the torn Achilles week 1 of 2020. As so many players seem to get hurt in 2020 due to the lack of the offseason program. So the 49ers, I mean, it's no risk, potentially high reward. They always carry 4 running backs that need to be healthy, right, on the roster. Mitchell's on IR now, so they needed to pick somebody up to take Mitchell's spot. So Marlon Mack is that spot. If he comes back to pre-Achilles form, oh boy, that's a big signing. Probably won't, but there's no risk. He's on the practice squad, and they need a body there right now. So they'll see what they have in practice here in the coming days. Does Mason get an opportunity this week? I would think that he does, just because it's going to be hard for Marlon Mack to pick up the entire new system in just 3 days of practice. So I do think that you see Jordan Mason up. He was up this past week, but you see Ty Davis-Price up as well, and Jeff Wilson. And we'll see what the pecking order is in the game, but I would expect Jordan Mason to get some time this week. All right, those of you just joining, Huntington Lake, I am here. It is beautiful. It is also mostly drained. And you could see I'm standing where the water would normally be. The water would normally be like this much higher up over my head. You could even see the boat docks behind me. Those, pier-looking things, those would actually be, just at the water level. But instead, I'm way down here, and, I could see like little relics of the past. Maybe I'm going to find pieces of that old plane because they've drained so much of this water. But that's a rusted chain. You got rusted boats here. But you've got pristine water in the Sierra Nevada. You guys, I told you, it used to be a forest, right? This used to be a forest, and then they dammed it up. Here's evidence. This is an old tree that that's growing on the bottom of the lake. Again, picture the water a little bit higher. You'd have this tree in the bottom of the lake. So they chopped it down, obviously, when the time came. In the distance, you could see the dam over there. I mean, it looks like Switzerland. especially with these clouds, these nice puffy clouds. First day of fall up here in the high Sierra. I'm not looking at the screen all the time because I'm enjoying the scenery. So if you really need a question answered, ask it again. I mean, Matt, we're talking about the Mack signing. I just view it as no risk, high reward. I don't see it as low risk. It's no risk. Non-guaranteed salary on the practice squad. So, oh well, we'll see what the 49ers do with him. We'll see what Marlon Mack does with the opportunity. Deshaun Gibson took his practice squad opportunity. He's a veteran whose best years are probably behind him. He took his practice squad opportunity, is now on the 53-man roster. There isn't any rain on Sunday. Should the 49ers run game be better? Well, their run game was fine in the rain at Chicago. They had 176 yards on 37 carries, 4.8 yards per carry. The run game wasn't an issue for the 49ers. They ran the ball well. In fact, it's borderline shocking that they lost that football game despite rushing for so many yards. It's the pass game that should improve if it's dry. Has the quarterback signed yet? I saw they're working out a quarterback. I don't know. Mike, text me if they have signed the quarterback. I can't check Twitter when I'm on a YouTube live. As of the start of this live, they hadn't started. They hadn't signed the quarterback. I saw they worked out Kurt Benkert, formerly of the Packers. They have one extra before that. You know, the 49ers, after all this maneuvering with the running back position, Marlon Mack with Deshaun Gibson going to the 53, they had one practice squad spot left. Mike says he doesn't see anything, so I don't think that the signing has happened at the quarterback position. But the 49ers can sign a QB if they need. And as far as practice squad spots go, you just sign, especially for that final one, the 16th and final spot, you sign a player who you believe you can develop. If it's a good developmental prospect, you don't worry all too much about position and you just bring him in. So I don't think that signing a QB would necessarily mean anything besides the fact that the 49ers thought that it would be a good, what the heck, no risk investment to develop on their practice squad. Because they currently have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, right? They don't have anybody in the practice squad. And you can carry 4 to run a nice, smooth practice. Yeah, no worries, James. I just, he says he was reading too far into it. I wasn't sure if some news had broken. That's the one thing. If I'm live on camera right here, I can't really see if news is broken. That's why Mike does such a good job texting me some of the stuff. Do I believe that Jeff Wilson will step up? I mean, he's got the attitude to step up. Does he have the speed to really succeed in the scheme, especially coming off the meniscus tear where he really wasn't the same player last year? I mean, running backs, it's tough to maintain that efficiency. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't think that he ran particularly explosively last week, so the 49ers are going to need more there. Beyond Elijah Mitchell, Shanahan has always talked about running back by committee. And I think it's going to have to be a team effort. A lot of guys are going to have to get this job done. What weaknesses do you see in Seattle that the 49ers can take advantage of? Left tackle and right tackle. Both of the tackles for the Seahawks. These guys struggle. That's all I have to say. I mean, they gave up a lot of pressure yesterday. I thought Geno Smith did a good job, escaping that when he found Luke Disley for that touchdown. Oh, Will Disley, sorry. Where did I get Luke from? Will Disley. Will Disley, who allegedly, according to Seahawks fans, is better than George Kittle. They were saying that all the way back in 2019. That's always one of the more comical lines of narrative coming out of Seattle. But, yeah, the 49ers can get pressure against left and right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. Abraham Lucas over on that right side. We'll see where Nick Bosa lines up. He has liberty to kind of slide around. But the 49ers will, again, have an advantage, D-line against the opposition's O-line. And I think that's the big one that they have to win. With Adams out, do you think that will encourage deep passes on Sunday? I don't know. Adams isn't that great in coverage. Adams is more of a missile and blitzing and run support. I don't know if that will affect the 49ers game plan as far as attacking downfield. Because when Adams is there, I think you